Hi everyone, this is Karen, and today is day 4 of our book club. We're reading from this book, Money Isn't the Problem, You Are. And in chapter 4, we'll be learning about dealing with difficult people using access consciousness tools. You'll learn about elves and rattlesnakes and how to deal with them. You'll also learn about energy pools. Okay, let's begin. And again, the invitation for everyone is for you to please share the tools which are working for you or the tools you resonate with. And let's keep the conversation going about how the tools and how the book reading is helping you. So, day 4 of our 7 Days of Change book club. We're reading from Money Isn't the Problem, You Are. It's by Gary M. Douglas and Dr. Dain Heer. Chapter 4. Dealing with difficult people, chapter 4. Elves and rattlesnakes. An elf is a person who will undermine you just for fun of it. And what does elf stand for? Elf stands for evil little fuck, hence the acronyms ELFs. An elf is the person who will say, "Oh, nice dress. I love it every time you wear it." Or, "Great dress. It looks good on you, even with all the weight you've gained." We tend to see other people as either all good or all bad. We want to see the good in them, but not the bad. We think it's unkind to see the bad. Is it? Or is it stupid and insane not to see it? Of course, it's stupid and insane. It's also not very conscious. We have to be willing to see the evil in somebody as well as the good. Have you ever been taken advantage of by someone? Have you ever been used for your money? You have to recognize that there are elves and rattlesnakes in the world, and some of them are in human bodies. Next, when a rattlesnake is in a human body, you don't want to take him home for the night. He'll bite your ass off one way or another, and he'll leave poison in your universe. Always acknowledge the elves and the rattlesnakes in your life. If you don't acknowledge what they can't change. They can't be any different. We know that nobody's all evil, but do rattlesnakes want to be called garter snakes? No. It pisses them off and they want to bite you all the harder. If you acknowledge them and say, if you acknowledge them and say to yourself, "You're an amazing rattlesnake and you've got great diamonds on your back. And boy, do you rattle well. And I'm staying 8 feet away from you at all times, then you won't get bitten. Then you won't get bitten." If you can see the evil in someone and acknowledge it, is that a judgment or is that an observation? If you observe that somebody is willing to do bad things for you, then they can't do those bad things. You only get sucker punch when you're unwilling to look at what somebody's doing that's not kind, not good, or not expansive. Start to see the truth of where people are sitting. Don't buy into the idea that everybody's all good or everybody's all bad. We've had people come to our classes who are just like snakes. I'll think, and this is Gary talking, "Please God, don't let this one come." But they keep coming back. They've always they're always a great lesson because I know that eventually they're going to do something mean and nasty. But because I know that, I'm prepared and I can handle it. I don't make the mistake of thinking that just because they're coming to class, they want to get conscious and that they're actually going to get conscious. I know that their choice is to be anti conscious. And if they're willing to be anti conscious, then they will not be aware of the things they do. And they will choose to dishonor others at every turn. Next. What are elves and rattlesnakes? Who are the elves and rattlesnakes in your life? Please share if you want to. But who are the elves and rattlesnakes in your life? Will you stop struggling to see the good in them and stop judging yourself for not being able to do the right thing? So they will stop being so mean and nasty. If you will acknowledge the elves and the rattlesnakes around you, not from the viewpoint of judging them, but from awareness, you will create the freedom to steer clear of them, or you will know how to handle them. We have a friend who is an acupuncturist, and she had a client who was an elf of magnitude. She asked me what she would do with her, and I said, just treat her, but acknowledge that she's an elf. My friend called me a few weeks later and said, I can't believe it. I thought she would be the last person in the world to change. But she came in today and said, I've been a terrible person my whole life, and I've been mean and nasty to everybody. I've decided I want to be a mother, and I can't imagine a child wanting a mother who's mean the way I've been. I'm changing. All you have to do is acknowledge the way someone is. You don't have to try to change them. Next, people who do a shoddy job. Have you known people who don't fulfill their obligations or who do a shoddy job that you have to hire somebody else to finish the job they started? Have you wondered how they get away with it? The answer is that if you're not willing to receive everything a person is willing to do, including the good, the bad, and the ugly, then you can get screwed. I have a housekeeper one time. She was somebody I knew, a friend. I came home one day after having worked really hard. I had my kid in my arms as I walked in the door, and I was exhausted. The house was filthy. I said, I thought you cleaned today. She said, I did. You owe me $80. I said, for what? The only thing I can see in this place is that the kitchen counters are clean and the faucets are shiny, but everything else is a mess. The carpet needs vacuuming, the kitchen floor hasn't been cleaned. She said, well, you owe me. I said, how can I owe you? You haven't done anything. What makes you think you deserve $80? She said, because I do. I said, I thought you were my friend. You're going to screw me for $80 because you think you deserve it? And you haven't cleaned anything. What kind of friendship is that? She said, it's just business. Don't take it personally. Have you ever had anybody do that to you? It's just business. Don't you love it's just business? It means they can do anything they want to you and they can be as unethical as they choose, and you have to take it. And you're wrong for taking offense. It's just business. It's not personal. Yes, it's personal. When somebody screws you, it's personal. Have you ever been taken advantage of that way? Are you willing to stand up and be the greatness of you and tell them, no, I'm not taking it? Next, should you only see the good in others? How much of you do you have to shut off to not perceive, know, be, and receive where somebody truly sits? A lot or a little? A lot. Some people don't want to believe this. They've been taught that they should only see the good in others. But if you can't see what is, how can you act appropriately? You do what is appropriate because you have awareness. You know, okay, it's cold enough to put on a jacket. When you're totally aware, you receive all the information. If you go out into nature expecting it to take care of you, you're not willing to see that it's going to get cold. You're not willing to see that it's going to rain. Do you get drenched? Do you get cold? Yes. In our lives, where we won't perceive what's going to happen, we're naked to the possibilities. The idea is become aware to allow yourself to receive as you do in nature means you don't cut off your perception and decide against all evidence. Okay, this is a good person to work with. If you decide someone is honest and they tell you a lie, are you going to notice? Or are you going to go, no? She couldn't she couldn't have lied to me. She can't do that 10 times before you finally go, you know what? She's dishonest. And then, no matter whether she says something truthful or not, you can't hear it. You're still not being aware. You have standards by which you define what you receive from others. If you take away the standards and allow yourself to receive everything from them, then you don't have to have a judgment before you walk in. You can go, okay, so who is here in front of me? What's going on? What are they doing? If they lie to you, you can say, oh, that was a lie. Okay, interesting. I wonder if they've got any other lies they're going to tell. You can begin to notice what they lie about. And then you realize, oh, so if I do this, they're going to lie until they've got all my money. But over there, in this other area of life, they're honest. Okay, cool. I'll buy this part of their deal, but I won't buy that part. Are you willing to receive all the information? Next. If you go into a store where they're selling DVD players and ask for a certain model, and the salesperson tells you, oh no, we don't have that model anymore, that one's obsolete. Is he telling you the truth? If you're willing to receive all the information the way that you are in nature, you'll know that he's not telling the truth. What's really happening is they don't have that model in the store, and the salesperson wants to sell you the model they do have. He doesn't want you to get out of the store until you buy something. He won't even say, well, I can get you that model. He wants you to buy what they have in stock. If you are willing to receive all the information, then you know what's going on and you say, okay, this isn't a place I want to do business. They're not going to give me what I'm looking for. They're not interested in serving me. They're only interested in getting my money. What do you look for when you go to buy something? Are you looking for a salesperson who's going to take care of you? When you walk in and somebody's really friendly and says, hi, it's so nice to see you. Gee, how are you doing? Is she going to take care of you? Is she being real? No. But what about when you walk in and somebody says, hi, what can I do for you? If they ask you that question, they might be interested in you. Next, who gave you the title of God? If you don't recognize when somebody is doing something unethical, mean spirited, evil, unkind, divisive, or vicious, what happens is you take the responsibility onto yourself. You think, if I had done that differently, he wouldn't have done what he did. I must have done something wrong. What's wrong with me? You aren't willing to recognize that you wouldn't be mean spirited and you wouldn't do unkind things. You might be tempted, but you wouldn't choose that. You take the blame on yourself. Why do you take the blame? Why are you responsible for other people's choices to be mean and unkind? Are you responsible for the entire world? Who gave you the title of God? I have certainly had that point of view myself. If I were God, this place would work right. But when you have that point of view, you always have to look at how, if you had done something differently, the other person would have made a different choice. No, some people just like to do that kind of stuff. Will you please claim, own, and acknowledge that some people just like to be mean? Next, when you judge yourself, are you being aware? When you blame yourself for what other people do or don't do, whom do you judge? Yourself. And if you judge yourself, are you being aware? Are you able to see that they're choosing to be mean because they like it? No. You assume that you didn't try hard enough, that if you had done it better, they wouldn't have been unkind. When somebody steals your money, is it because you let them? Is it because you weren't on your toes enough? Or because you didn't check them out well enough? Or Is it because they like to steal? Somebody who likes to steal. If you come clear on the fact that you are not responsible for the choices other people make, then you can see what they're going to do before they do it. You just say, okay, they're going to choose that. Interesting point of view. And when they do it, you say, you know what? This is enough. I don't want to play this game with you anymore. You can leave now or I will. You don't try to make it okay. You don't try to keep a friendship or a business relationship in existence, thinking that if you just got it right, or if you did something better, or if you change you, that they would get it and suddenly understand what you're talking about. That's not going to happen. Next, what do you do after you've been duped in a business deal? What do you do? Is it easier to go after somebody to get something back or to create something new? Instead of looking at the past, at what did or didn't happen, put your attention on how to create a future in which you create more than what you already have. There are people who have stolen parts and pieces of access and created their own programs based on what they learned from me. Was it theirs? Not an ounce of it. They stole everything from me. They retyped a few things, called things slightly different names, and are teaching my material as though the material was theirs. I could sue them because it's my copyrighted material. But I'd rather spend an hour helping somebody who wants to get conscious than fight to stop somebody who's never going to get conscious. Besides, I know the materials they stole aren't going to work for them anyway. Will unethical people eventually do themselves in? Will unethical people eventually do themselves in? No, they don't believe in karma. They are not going to do themselves in. They're going to continue to shaft everybody they can as long as they can. And after they die, they'll come back and do it again because they like to do it. Will you claim, own, and acknowledge that some people just like to be mean and nasty? It's one of it's one of the things they're good at. It's their forte in life. When somebody's good at something, they keep on doing it. If you are willing to see that someone is an elf or a rattlesnake, you won't be taken advantage of. You can't be. But because you're kind, caring, loving, and all the things you truly are, you often don't see others for what they are. Instead, you judge yourself as wrong. But the reality is, you aren't unethical, you aren't vicious, you aren't mean spirited. Unfortunately, that means you're easygoing, fun loving, and easily taken advantage of. And everybody sees you as a sucker. But you're only a sucker as long as you're not willing to identify the people who are willing to be mean and vicious. Next, next. Can people take advantage of you if you can perceive what they're going to do? As long as you're aware, you can't be taken advantage of. Because you can say, no, I'm not going to do that. You have the choice. As long as you're aware, you won't expect people to do anything differently than what they do. It's when we expect people to act the way we would act that we get sucker punched. People will act however they're going to act, and you need to be willing to see that. If you're not willing to receive that information, you will be taken advantage of. You must receive all the information without judgment. Look at what's going on. It's not, whoa, I need to be careful. It's, whoa, I need to be aware. If you're aware, no one can take advantage of you. But if you're careful, everybody can. When Dain was looking for a BMW, we went to a lot where they had advertised one for sale. We had called that morning and they said it was still available. But when we got there, the salesman said Oh, we sold it already. No big deal. We've got these Porsche Boxsters, and a lot of people call for BMWs, and I've done this to 10 other people. I put them into this car instead. I've done this to them, he said. We knew. Bye. Thank you. We were out of there. Next, how do you deal with the elves and rattlesnakes? You do it without a vested interest. You don't have a vested interest in the outcome. When you are asking for something in life, whatever you're asking to receive, you cannot be vested in the outcome. Do you understand what we mean by that? If I think I want to get $1 million and I've got to get it from you, I'm vested in the outcome. I demand, are you going to give me the $1 million? Give me my $1 million. That's being vested in the outcome. I've got to get $1 million translates to I've got to go out and do this and this and this. I want $1 million. I've got to do this. 3 million in construction, so I've got to eat shit from this person. I've got to eat crow from this person. I've got to let the bunkers shaft me at every opportunity, and in the end, it will all work out. But when you're not vested in the outcome, you can ask, what are the infinite possibilities of $1 million coming into my life in the next 2 years, or the next year, or the next 6 months? You allow the information to come to you that will permit you to receive it. The easiest way to deal with difficult people is to be an allowance. If you recognize the rattlesnake, are you going to get into bed with him? If you recognize the elf or the rattlesnake, you can say, interesting point of view. He thinks he can get away with that. If you keep calm, cool, and collected, and if you're present with what you perceive, you'll know he's going to try and shaft you. You will be aware during the whole conversation, and you will not let that happen. When you say, oh, he's really a nice person, you're dead. When you say, I'm going to give him back his own medicine, you've got a fight. When you are in conflict with somebody, the energy gets locked in place. You don't want energy locked in place. You want it to flow. To allow that to happen, you must be an allowance. You're the rock in the stream, and the water flows around you. Whatever that difficult person is doing is just an interesting point of view. And when everything is just an interesting point of view, you're the rock in the stream, and the water or the energy continues to flow. Next, suck them right off their feet. When I first started teaching, I used to say, when people are pushing energy at you, you have to be able to pull energy from them so hard that they quit. One day I thought, I hate salesmen, especially when they call at dinner time. I wonder what would happen if I pulled energy from them. At 6 o'clock every evening, the phone would start to ring, and it was always a salesman. And they were always trying to sell me something. I decided to change things. One evening, the phone rang, and I said, okay, this is a salesman. I know it's a salesman. I picked up the phone and said, hello. And yes, it was a salesman. He started in his spiel, and I started pulling energy from him. I said, that's really cool. I've been collecting this. I've been looking at this. Can you send me two of them? And he said, yes, sir. Can I have your credit card number? I said, sure, no problem. And I was pulling energy from him like mad. He took the credit card number and said, are you sure you want this, sir? I said, absolutely. This is exactly what I've been looking for. I could feel him thinking, this does not compute, does not compute, does not compute. He hung up. Not 5 minutes later, I got a call. Mr. Douglas, this is so and so supervisor. I was sucking energy like crazy, pulling energy through every pore of my body and being. And he asked, did you order this? I said, yes, sir, I did. And I'm really happy it's coming. He said, thank you very much, Mr. Douglas. People who are doing sales need a barrier. I've never got the item and I never got billed for it. Why? Because people who are doing sales need a barrier. They know you've got a barrier and that if they knock it down, they've got a sale. But if you don't put up a barrier and you pull energy from them, they think something's wrong. You're crazy. You're a liar. You've got somebody else's credit card. Something's very wrong if you don't have a barrier up and you're not doing resistance or reaction. Bella, I can see salesmen coming to my front door through the window of my house. And when I see them, I start sucking energy from them because I know they're going to try and break down my barriers. The walkway up to the house is flat cement, but because I'm pulling energy, they almost fall down before they get to the door. When I open the door, I say, "Hi, how are you doing?" And I pull energy. They say, "Hi, I'm selling this, and it's no good, and you really don't want it." I keep pulling energy, and they say, "Never mind, bye." They have no idea why they said those things to me. A car salesman will say, "I have this really great truck and it's really drivable." When you pull energy, he'll say, "And the transmission is about to go out on it and it's really not worth this kind of money." I can't believe I said that. They do it all the time. You've just got to suck energy like crazy when they're pushing energy at you. If you pull massively from somebody's pulling energy at you, they'll tell you all the reason why you shouldn't buy their product. It also works with religious people who come to your door. If you allow them to come in and you just pull energy from them like crazy, they'll go away. Religious people would come to my house and I'd know who they were and I'd open the door and I'd pull energy like crazy and I'd say, "Hi, how are you?" And they'd go, "Hi, we're here on behalf of God," or whatever. I'd say, "Cool. I'd be glad to listen to everything you've got to say. Would you mind if I channel for you?" Speed of light. They were out of the house. They were out of my house. And I'm put on the list of houses to avoid. They never came back again. Next, how do you pull energy? How do you pull energy? You just ask the energy to pull. Someone recently told me how it worked with a policeman. She got pulled over for speeding and she sucked energy. Instead of giving her a ticket, the policeman said, "Don't do it again. You can use this in all kinds of places. As long as you suck energy from somebody, they can do their aggressive behavior. Aggression stops when you pull energy." One of the things you can do to practice this is to go into a coffee shop, some place where there are lots of people. Just stand to the side of the door and pull energy from every person in the place until they all turn around and look at you. You just ask the energy to pull. "Okay, I'm going to pull energy from everybody in this place until they all turn around and look at me." People will turn and look at you and you'll go, "Cool, that's all it takes. There's no work." It doesn't take effort. It's easy. How do you get money that is owed to you? Sometimes people ask me, "How do I get money that is owed to me?" If somebody owes you money, the thing to do is pull energy from them through every pore of your body and being until you feel your heart open up. When that occurs, you're connected with them. Then you let a trickle go back to them. Keep doing this every day, 24 hours a day. They won't be able to get you off their mind until they pay you back. Do this without being vested in the outcome. Decide that you're going to maintain this connection to them and you're going to keep letting the flow of energy come towards you until the money you're owed comes with the flow. How does that work? When somebody owes you money, they put up a barrier. If you pull energy from them and let a little trickle go back, they can't stop thinking about you. The more they think about you, the more guilty they feel. The more guilty they feel, the more likely they're able to pay you. It works. Are you trying to collect money from someone who has died? Do the same thing. He'll come to you in another body and give you some kind of money, and you'll wonder, why is this guy giving me money? He went out and got a new body and is back. You're an unlimited being, right? Do you think it's only one lifetime that counts? Have you ever had the experience of somebody coming in and spending a lot of money on you, or buying something from you, or giving you a job or a big sum of money, and you had no idea why they were doing it? They had no real connection to you, and they came and gave you a big sum you didn't really earn. They dropped off the money and went out of your life. If that's happened to you, it's because that person owed you from another lifetime. And that's the end of chapter 4 of the book Money Isn't the Problem, You Are. And again, like to invite you to join us for 7 days of change. It's happening this February